You guys know from my recent videos that my keyboard of choice right now is a Logitech G613. It's a hefty keyboard built like a tank, but it also has amazing battery life, and not to mention it is lag free despite being completely wireless. However, I've been itching to try another keyboard as of late, so I've been looking around, and what I have for you today is the Keychron K4 V2. This is a 96% 100 key layout keyboard, very different from me, but I actually kind of like it, and I have some thoughts on it. Let's get into it. The Keychron K4 has what I would like to call kind of a clean business look. Despite the fact that it is heavy and it has this box-like style, I think the design is pretty clean. It sinks the keys in just enough to hide the switches, which we have Gateron Brown switches on this keyboard, and it keeps it from having this kind of weird floating keycap look that some of the other keyboards have. Now, when it comes to this current layout, this 96% layout that this keyboard has, you're missing some keys. In particular, you're missing the scroll lock, the print key, and you're also missing the insert key, as well as I think one of the alt keys, but I'm not so sure on that last one. Now, when it comes to the overall look of this keyboard, I have to admit that the dark keycaps, the different shades of gray with the slightly translucent orange keycaps in the corner, which lets the light shine through, all this combines to kind of a unique look that if you look at all the keyboards that Keychron offers, you can tell that this is kind of a signature look for their brand. Now, if you don't like the look, you're definitely not stuck with it. This is a hot swappable keyboard, which means that not only can the keycaps be changed, but also the switches underneath the keycaps can also be changed, which means that both the feel of typing, the look of the keyboard in general, and the sound of the keyboard can be completely changed based on how you change up the keycaps and the switches. One thing I found when it came to actually typing on this keyboard and using it is that it was actually uncomfortable at first. And the reason for that was the keyboard sits higher than most of my other keyboards do with that box-like look I was talking about before. So in order to pretty much take care of that, I just needed to get a wrist rest. Now, you know, with a G613 has one built in, but like I said before on that video, there's also better wrist rests out there. And I got one from Cooler Master that sat at the exact height of this keyboard, and it made it very, very comfortable to type on. Now, when it comes to the backlight I was talking about earlier, you have a plethora of profiles to choose from. There's only one key needed to switch the backlighting and also to turn it off. So you hit that key to keep switching through the profiles. And then of course you keep hitting it until it turns off if you don't like the backlighting at all. I, for one, love it. And it's just white, which is great for me. However, the Keychron K4 does have an RGB version, which is linked below as well, along with anything else you're looking for when it comes to this keyboard. Links are in the description. Now, there's more features to this keyboard than just backlighting. When it comes to the Windows users, this keyboard is trying to be friendly to both Mac and Windows users. And one of the things that Keychron did is include Windows keycaps in the board, in the box with this keyboard, in order for you to switch out those keycaps to be more friendly for Windows environment. However, me in general, I'm kind of used to where those keys already are. So I didn't really need to switch the keycaps in order to know that those Windows keys are there when I'm using Windows. So I didn't really need it, but it's a nice touch. On the side is also a switch that is most likely like an OS button or an OS switch. It allows you to switch from a Windows Android mode to a Mac OS mode. And I did not find out much use of this at all, because when I switched it to the Mac OS mode, it did something weird with certain shortcuts and applications that I use in the Mac when I'm working. I'm not sure why, but I just switched it back to Windows and all that worked just fine. There's other things you can do with the function keys besides what's laid out on the keyboard itself, like what you see in print on that home row. You can also turn off the auto sleep using a certain shortcut command that is told in your manual to turn off the auto sleep with the function keys. You can also switch between and connect up to 3 Bluetooth devices using the function keys as well, and you'll be able to switch between them with just a few key presses on the keyboard. Now this kind of brings us to the cons here of this keyboard. Not everything is all good when it comes to Keychron. For one, let's dive right back into those function keys. First off, for the Mac, you have to enable the function keys when you are using the Keychron K4 with the Mac, because if you don't, your function keys will only be using the media settings instead of the actual F1 through 8 or 7 or whatever. Instead, it will be using the media shortcut that's printed on it instead of doing what it's supposed to do. So you have to enable the function keys in order for that to work, which is weird because I didn't have to do that for the Logitech G613. And then also when it comes to the function keys in Linux, because you remember I do also do personal projects on my Linux machine, things get a bit more complicated for these function keys, which is weird, by the way. But there is a link to the Reddit community for Keychron when it comes specifically to the Linux environment, and they pretty much helped me solve that issue as well. Not too big a deal, but again, kind of a frustration. Also moving on to the auto sleep I was talking about earlier. There's a certain weird thing about this as well. When the keyboard does auto sleep, when it goes to sleep after I think it's 10 minutes, which is hard coded into the keyboard, it actually like almost completely turns off, where I have to hit a key to wake it up and then I'll be able to start typing. When it came to my G613, I can just start typing. I didn't have to actually hit a key and then hit it again in order to start typing what I'm typing. I could just go. I guess it's part of the light speed technology that's built into that keyboard. And yeah, I kind of miss it here on the Keychron keyboard. It's not a deal breaker, just another frustration. Now, when it comes to typing on the keyboard, like I said before, I do like it a lot. It's very comfortable, and here's how it sounds. After a short journey around the key community, the community of keyboard enthusiasts and people who really love mechanical keyboards and doing all kinds of advanced things with them, I do know that this particular keyboard, with a little bit of love, a little bit of work, can actually sound even better than it does right now. And we're going to get into that, but not in this video. This video is done. I hope I provided enough information to you about the Keychron K4 so that you can, of course, make your decision whether it's something that's up your alley or not. At first, I thought that this layout, this 96% layout was going to be difficult and maybe throw off my work and I wouldn't be able to get used to it. But honestly, hasn't really bothered me that much at all. It's actually been kind of fun to use, and it's nice to have a keyboard that does so much for me and takes up even less space than my huge G613, which I thought for certain that will be hard for me to part with. I found it was just fine. So if you guys are trying to check out this keyboard, wanted to give it a look, don't be afraid about the 96% layout or anything like that. I still have my number pad, which I absolutely need for work. And then I have my home row keys. Honestly, this is the keyboard that gives me exactly what I need and nothing more. And I like it a whole lot. So I hope you guys did enjoy this video. And if you're looking for more videos in the future, more tech videos, obviously, hit the subscribe button down below and comment with what your thoughts of on this video and the Keychron K4 or any other keyboards that you think I should check out. Let me know down in the description box below. Maybe I'll give it a look. You have a good one. And of course, have a happy new year. Bye.